of the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework, MTEF, and Fiscal strategy paper, FSP. I believe this is a landmark session. When people say that if you don't plan how to succeed, then you are planned to fail. Therefore, I have to make one observation that every head of agency invited to come and sit down and interact with the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with a view to planning and strategizing on how this present administration can succeed. Any serious-minded appointee or any head of any agency that is interested in the success of President Tinubu's administration ought to be here. I'll be glad, Mr. Chairman, you can give me the list of all the heads of agencies that you invited who have failed to show up in this session. This is the beginning of their failure in their various offices. Therefore, I'm happy to see the chairman of FRS here present, and I've also seen the DG, Imasa, and others. Outside, my minister, who himself knows the importance of what we are doing. Any head of agency that sent a representation here is not a serious person, and therefore the president must take a second look at such a person's appointment. It's not a trend, it is the truth. I shelved even my appointment to appear in Owerri today for a final rally of my party and all other schedules that I had to make sure that I'm here so that we can strategize on how we can succeed. We start with the MTEF and FSP, and we are looking at a 3-year period. Then heads of agencies that ought to assist Mr. President to implement everything that he has in mind, including budget, will fail to be here. Such head of an agency is not fit to be there. I hope you agree with me. Yes. Don't you agree with me? Yes. That person is not fit to be there. So we'll look into that issue immediately after this. Because this is Mr. President's first budget as President of Nigeria. And we are here to discuss and interact on the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. And you fail to show up. Probably you're going to inspect a 1 kilometer road somewhere. Such a person is not a serious-minded person, and therefore ought not to serve in an administration that is trying to bring renewed hope to Nigerians. Having said that, I must say that this session is a landmark one. First of its kind that I'm standing here, and the first that President Bola Tinubu's administration will be having. Timely and urgent. The proceeding is also pursuant to the goals of keeping to the established January to December budget cycle, which was started by the 9th Assembly, and which the 10th Assembly is committed to maintaining. It's also in line with our constitutional role of appropriation. Chairman, it's also in line with our constitutional role of appropriation. The term of appropriation here? Yes. If any head of an agency is not here to discuss, don't you think that person is not fit to run that agency? Thank you. Therefore, the 2024 to 2026 MTEF and FSP is being considered at a time that events at a global scene, locally and otherwise, are putting massive negative financial and socio-economic pressure on just not Nigeria and on all other development indices globally. Internationally, the intractable Russian-Ukraine war and the suddenness of the emergence of conflicts in Israel and Palestine, particularly what is going on in Gaza, are also having international economic repercussions. There are consequences for our own economic outlook as a nation. In addition, we are in the throes of the immediate effects of needed reform in our foreign exchange system and the equally needed removal of subsidy on petroleum subsidies and cost on petroleum products. This is something that was kept in abeyance for so many years until it became obvious that we needed the president with the will to take decisions, the law, to preserve the future of Nigeria. So I believe that we have every right to applaud President Bola Tinubu for saving Nigeria from this fuel subsidy scam. Now our business will think of ways or means of ensuring that the impact, the negative impact of the fuel subsidy removal is taken care of to make sure that Nigerians do not suffer, or their suffering is minimized to a very minimum. Very, very well. That it is for a short while, and after this, definitely the pain of childbirth will be forgotten once we see the child smiling. Nigeria will rise, and Nigeria will be safe from future collapse. There is no doubt that we must discuss and take bold steps in ensuring that our economic projections, our policies, stimulate growth, stimulate employment, and ensure sustainability of the Nigerian policy. While we acknowledge that the majority of our people are going through very difficult times in their daily lives at present, we are also very hopeful that in the medium term and in the long run, the Nigerian economy is bound to rebound. For the reliefs that will now be brought to the good people of the country. In pursuant of this goal, I want to encourage very frank discussions and honest contributions from all and sundry. I want to encourage every single person that has good ideas to contribute to ensure that at the end of this discussion, the medium-term financial framework and the fiscal strategy paper for 2024-2026 will be something that this government can rely on, that will also take us out of the doldrums. We must confront the economic challenges facing the nation, and the president is determined. It's now your job to also discuss and agree on the way forward. A good platform for such discussions. So given the progress made so far in our public finance management and the reforms of the financial system through passage of 4 Finance Acts 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, we must continue to bring our financial legislations up to date, the speed for increased revenue generation, removal of ambiguities, and redressing socio-economic imbalances to favor the downtrodden. That also means that the chairman of the FRS must assist us to legislate on how to block the loopholes or leakages in the system in order to have more money to assist the Nigerian states. There is no doubt that the passage of the various finance acts are yielding results for government revenues and providing support for the low-income earners and small and medium-scale sectors of the Nigerian economy. We are hopeful that the reforms and future enactments will continue to bring our financial legislations up to date. In view of our current realities, borrowing cannot be totally avoided. But it is pertinent to state that the borrowing trends can also not be sustained. And so they must be checked, and we must be conscious of efforts to reduce budget deficits Achieving a balance to reduce budget deficits requires every one of us to look inwards towards increased revenue generation, blocking of the loopholes of leakages, as I said earlier, and then we must restrain ourselves on what we make of frivolous expenses by MDAs, particularly the government-owned enterprises. We are convinced that the government-owned enterprises can do better in terms of revenue, and it is noteworthy that various reforms are being introduced to ensure centralization or harmony of the channels of payment of revenues. This is just to say that we must go back to the Constitution, where we have the consolidated revenue accounts, as expected, that all funds should go to the consolidated revenue account, and they ought to be appropriated for. Just bill and keep, bill and spend, maybe a good idea. There are some government-owned agencies that are allowed by the extant regulations, which cannot override constitutional provision to bill and spend, and then return what they like to the consolidated revenue account. We as the Senate and as the 10th Assembly, to myself as chairman of the National Assembly of the 10th Assembly, we look into those things, look into those legislations and see where they tend to conflict with the Constitution, which is a ground norm. Tinker with those things and ensure that we have more revenue that will meet other obligations of government, not just allowing people to bill and spend, and at the end, bring out what they call excess. So those agencies, don't be worried. We'll appropriate for you, what is due to you, but we will not allow frivolous expenses. Henceforth, we must obey the Nigerian Constitution. Any law that is inconsistent with any provision of the Constitution is null and void to the extent of that inconsistency. I'm not the one saying it. I think Lord Dennis said it, and the Constitution is very clear. So on this note, I welcome all of you. Thank you for coming. For those of you that were able to make it, for those that were not able to make it, very unfortunate. I don't think the President of Nigeria gave you the opportunity to be in those offices will be happy. I hereby declare this MTEF FSP interactive session open in the name of Almighty God.